I am a content strategist, Brian Johnson with MSDN. I'm here at TechEd 2004 talking to product unit manager Brian Harry about the Visual Studio Team system. So Brian, could you explain to us a little bit what is the Visual Studio Team system, or what it's all about?
Absolutely, be happy to. The Visual Studio Team system is a set of tools that enables you to manage your whole life cycle of your software development process. Historically, we've built tools in Visual Studio that empower the developer to work more efficiently and to produce better code. Now we're sort of looking at all of the other people involved in the development process and figuring out how to make them more effective, because as software development has become more sophisticated, the number of people involved in the process has become much greater, and they need to be included. So when you I'll use the whiteboard back here to give you the 10,000-foot view. There are 4 primary components to the team foundation, to the team system. There are 3 what we call role-based SKUs that are designed for different groups of people. There's what we call the team system developer SKU, which is for developers to make them more productive and produce better code. It includes new tools like a profiler, code coverage, static analysis, dynamic analysis, those kinds of tools. And then there's the team tester, and those include tools specifically targeted at testers, people whose job is to make sure the code actually conforms to the specifications. And that includes things like test case management, load testing, manual testing, code coverage, unit testing, all of that kind of stuff. And then there's the architect SKU. It's the team system architect, and that is for people whose job is to design at a very high level what the architecture of your application is, especially focused at distributed applications. And then the final piece in the picture is what we call the team foundation. And it's services that everybody needs, not only the 3 roles that I've talked about here, the developer, the tester, the architect, but specifically and especially the project manager, but other people too, your CIO. It's generally services that are available or that are interesting to everyone. And these include things like version control, bug tracking, build support, a web portal for information about your project, reporting services to be able to generate interesting reports and metrics about your project, etc. So all of this together is the Visual Studio Team system.
Oh, great. Now, what kind of a company is going to want to use this system in their own processes to develop software?
Well, it's a company that generally has a structured software development process. It's not a tool for a few people who just need file sharing and basic versioning services. Really, SourceSafe is the answer for those customers. The Team Foundation and the Team System is generally for larger organizations or organizations that have a structured process with many roles. The goal of having all of these roles in the Team Foundation is about enabling the communication between people and making sure that the process of software development is smoother and everyone understands what they need to do, when they need to do it, and what the overall status of the project is. So it's appropriate for teams that have defined roles, a project manager, a tester, a developer, etc. I think that's most of it.
Yeah. So, okay, can a company it sounds like a company that develops software this way might already have these kind of processes in place. Can the team system be used by these companies and adapted to meet the current system, the way they work now?
Absolutely. It's one of the key defining characteristics of the team system. There's a lot of functionality built here and a lot of process. In fact, one of the components of the system is something called process guidance. It's part of MSF, Microsoft Solutions Framework. And it gives you sort of Microsoft proven practices for how you build software. But you don't have to use it. Every company has their own processes, and for good reason. They've developed over the years. Every company's different requirements, different customers, different needs. Our proven practices provide a good baseline to look at. You can take those and you can customize them, or you can use entirely your own process. Now, our individual tools integrate with the process Let's take, for example, the work item tracking system. I talk about work item tracking, and people aren't usually familiar with the term work item tracking. They're familiar with defect tracking or bug tracking or something like that. However, we use the term work item tracking because we track not just bugs, but we track anything that is a unit of work that can be assigned to somebody that has a beginning, a process which it flows, and work, and a completion. So that whole process is completely customizable to your process. We, of course, in our methodologies, will ship some built-in work items. We'll give you a bug, and it'll have a set of fields and a form and a set of rules for what data you need to enter and what the valid values for that data are and what the life cycle for that bug is. You might have your own definition of bug. That you just want to completely ignore ours and define yours, define the life cycle, define the workflow, the fields, the rules. Or you might pick one of our methodologies, of which there are two, the MSF Complete, which is a pretty structured process that captures a lot of information, and an MSF Agile process, which is a trimmed down process for a more agile team that doesn't need to track so much information. You could start with one of those as a baseline and modify it, or you could just start from scratch and create your own customizations as to how the system works.
Does this apply now to tools that are already used by companies to do these kinds of things now?
Absolutely. We recognize that project teams are already dealing with a lot of these issues and already have tools that they use. In some cases they've built them, and in some cases they're third-party tools, and in some cases they're other Microsoft tools. Let's take, for example, your project manager. Your project manager's never been somebody who used Visual Studio, and I don't expect them to. We're not trying to sell Visual Studio, the Visual Studio Pro, for example, to a project manager because they don't want compilers, debuggers, all of that doesn't make any sense. What they want to do is they want to manage their project with Microsoft Project and Excel and Word and those kinds of tools. So we've built integration, as an example, from our work item tracking system into Project and Excel. Your project manager can take project, schedule the project, assign who the work items are for, do balancing, and do all the cool things that Project allows you to do. They can then export all the tasks out of Project into the work item tracking system, and those work items will now show up on your developer's Visual Studio. When the developer runs Visual Studio, they open the solution, they'll see a list of all the work items that have been assigned to them. As they work on those work items, they update them, they make progress. That information can be re-imported into Project, update your project plan, and everybody gets to continue to use the tools that they've always used. Mm-hmm. Now, in addition to that, I've talked about a Microsoft tool and the integration that we've built for it. What about a non-Microsoft tool? Well, another one of the key things about the team system from the beginning is extensibility. Whether that extensibility is for you to customize the process for your organization, or whether it is for a third party to plug in and add value to the team system. We've got a variety of extensibility services, including web service APIs to every one of the server pieces of functionality that we have, like the bug tracking system, the version control system, the build system. All have web service interfaces that allow you to interact with them. Plus, the overall Team Foundation has a set of integration services so that other tools can integrate as tightly with our tools as we do. It's got, for example, a security service that allows all the tools to share a common notion of identity in common groups. It's got a notification service. One of the cool features of the Team Foundation is that we provide notifications for any state change on the server. So, for example, you might want to know if somebody assigns you a priority one bug because you might need to respond to it very quickly. We could set it up so that a notification gets fired, mail gets sent to you, and you get notified that you have a priority one bug as soon as it happens. Well, that notification service is available as baseline functionality in the Team Foundation, and third parties can use that notification service to plug in their tools and integrate with ours. We've also got a linking service that allows you to relate artifacts within our store with your store, like our work items, our files in the version control system, our builds, etc.
Oh, excellent. Now, as I understand it, this is like my final question. These tools are based on some of the tools we use internally at Microsoft now, is that correct?
That's correct. When we started getting into the lifecycle tool space, what we really observed was that customers out there face the same kind of software development problems that we have, and we've spent many years building up our software development process, and we did several things with that. One, we created MSF, which is a productization of our process. What we realized is they need the tools as well. So we took a close look at all of the tools that we use internally and picked quite a few of them to base our commercial products on. There was some productization that we had to do, integration with Visual Studio, things like that, but they're based on the internal tools. And examples would be the profiler, the static analysis tool, the work item tracking system. Many of the tools in the Team Foundation are tools we've used for years and have helped us be very successful creating software.
And we can look forward to rolling those out internally at Microsoft.
That's right. The updated versions will be used internally as well.
All right, great. Well, thanks for the information, Brian. At TechEd 2004, I'm Brian Johnson.